Welcome back to Spilling the Gravy. I'm Antonia.
And I'm Michele.
And we are a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law duo. This episode, we're going to be breaking down some family dynamics, specifically with your siblings. Two very different point of views on this, so it should be interesting.
Yes, you spent most of your life an only child, and I only spent 6 years an only child. And then I had two siblings back to back.
So let's cheers. Episode
Six.
Episode 6.
Salute.
Yeah, if you're still here, give us a follow. I mean, we're still here, so
We're waiting for you.
And I grew up an only child. I am no longer an only child, which I occasionally forget because I'm so used to saying that I'm an only child.
I forget too sometimes.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation. So my dad and my stepmom have a son named Logan, who is so cute, so adorable, and we are 20 years apart. So it's quite the age gap. And we're half siblings. So we obviously I did not grow up with him. He knows me as his sister, but I think for me it becomes a little bit harder to automatically think I have a brother when I grew up 20 years without one.
And the age difference, I think, too.
Yeah, the age difference, as well as I don't see them that often.
Well, the good thing is there should be no rivalry between you and Logan. No,
there's not. We're great. I'll go see them every once in a while. We'll play superhero. And that's our relationship.
We actually remember we used to tease when Evan and Antonia, before they got married, and we talked about the bachelor party. I would say that Evan's bachelor party, we had to be at Chuck E. Cheese so that Logan could attend.
Logan was not in attendance at the bachelor party. He was a little bit too young.
But he was in the wedding party.
He was. He was our ring bearer. So cute in his little suit.
He's adorable.
But growing up as an only child, it was definitely a different experience than you would have had or that the boys would have had growing up. For me, I hated being an only child. I didn't like necessarily being alone all the time. I felt like I had no one to play with. All my cousins were much younger than me, and I was the only grandkid for quite some time. I did have cousins on my dad's side that were around the same age as me, but I didn't see them all the time. So it was mainly just me. Even when my friends, when we would hang out, they would complain about their siblings all the time. And I'm like, well, at least you have a sibling. You have somebody to fight with. I have myself.
I was an only child. I'm kidding. I have two siblings, but I say I was an only child because I was born 11 months after my parents got married. So they had me pretty much their entire marriage. And then my first brother wasn't born until right before I turned 6. And then they are only 17 months apart. So went from me for almost 6 years alone, and then bang, bang, two brothers, just like that. So when my mom had my brother, at first it was like, I have a living, breathing, baby alive doll that I can play with. And that was kind of how I felt. And I think it's probably different based on gender too.
Yeah.
So,
I would say so.
A little bit, because we'll get into it. But even with Evan and Ryan, Evan was they're 5 years apart, my two, and Evan liked to help too. Not I was thought I was like a little mommy, and he was my doll. But Evan more was like, oh, I'm a big brother, and I can help feed him and do this and that. So there was a little bit of that. So I think when the age gap is 5, 6, or more years, you become more like a little helper. Too.
Yeah, I'm sure, because and especially as a girl, I can imagine if I had a brother or sister when I was 6 or 7, that's oh my gosh, can I feed them? Can I hold them?
Baby alive.
Exactly. For a girl, I think it's different than a boy.
Yeah, absolutely. I was also though the only. So my mom was the oldest, and she has two sisters. My dad was the baby. He has had one sibling, a sister. But my aunt on my father's side had no children. And on my mother's side, her being the oldest, also by 4 or 5 years, I was the oldest grandchild too. So yeah. I was basically just me. I was like a little old lady.
That was me.
Yeah.
It was just me.
Right. So I was like a little old lady. Like we'd go to people's houses and I'd be like, when are we having cake and coffee? Because I was always with the adults.
Well, that's what my experience was, because for so long, at least on my mom's side, who I lived with, like I was the only kid and my mom was the youngest. So it was like the first baby to come in the family. And then I'm trying to think, Nick is a senior in college. So how old is he? He's 22.
22.
He's going to be 22 in February. So we're, again, I had like another few years apart from when he came along, and he's the next oldest. So it was just me. So obviously, being the only child and the only grandkid, I was spoiled rotten between my grandma, who also we lived with at the time. So that's just, grandma spoiling me. And then, I mean, even my aunts pretty much came over and like would want to play dress up with me because I was the only girl too. So it's just a different experience when you're younger and there's one new baby that's just by themselves. But then as I got older, I think when I was that age, probably like obviously infant to like maybe when I was able to speak and play by myself, that's really when I felt like I'm bored. I want somebody to play with. And I know everybody talks about like only child syndrome, like craving attention and all that. I don't feel like I was like that. Other people could think otherwise.
Like I said, when my brother Anthony was the first one born, it was like a living, breathing doll, like I said. So I was all involved. And no jealousy either. And I don't know if that was a boy girl, because I think sometimes there's a jealousy too. If it was another girl, I don't know. I might have been jealous because I was totally daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
So I think I was glad that I was the only girl.
The only girl.
But having him, like he could, I mean, now I was 6. It's not like he could play with me at that point. But as soon as he could speak, you've heard some of the tapes. Like I made him, and then Mike. So 6, and then literally when I was 7, my brother Michael came along. So boom, boom, they were there. As soon as they were toddlers and could speak, I would record them. I would be a newscaster. Like these poor kids, and they just followed me around. I was the big sister. I would dress them up. We would have Christmas spectaculars. I would make them sing, dress up like, Santa Claus and a reindeer. So they literally became, it was just like, they were my playmates, but because I was older, I was sort of the ringleader.
Yeah. I think that happens in a lot of families too. So even though like I didn't grow up with siblings, like I did see my cousins on my mom's side more so when I was older, because my aunt used to drop me off at school. So since I was older, I was also the helper, be like, can you change diapers? Can you do this? And I'm like, sure. Like play dress up with my twin cousins, and like even like Nick, like we would play basketball and stuff. So I've had sibling experiences with them.
And my poor brothers, the things that we made them do. So even when like my parents had good friends that had kids I was friends with that were more my age, and we would get together, the parents would be hanging out, the kids would be playing, and we would play Charlie's Angels, because yes, not the Charlie's Angels, the Charlie's Angels, the Farrah Fawcett Day Charlie's Angels. We would play Charlie's Angels because we were 3 girls, and we'd make poor Anthony be Bosley.
I don't know who that is.
He was like the guy that kind of ran the thing. And we probably made Michael be Charlie, because Charlie just like his voice would just come over the speaker every so often. So they were just stuck with whatever we were playing. They just had to be part of it. They were told what to do, but they loved it, because at that point they just wanted to follow around the older kids.
Do you think that, like, what was your favorite, memory that you have with them, the two of them?
Probably when we would do the holiday shows. Like I would come up with a whole holiday show, and we'd sing, and we'd perform for the family. I don't even know how much they remember, but we have recordings of some of it. And we would put on a holiday spectacular, and we would sing Christmas songs, and we would dress up a little, and then I would make them perform in front of the family.
See, but I used to do that, but with my stuffed animals.
How sad.
See, but like I wanted to have.
Did you pick them up and make them?
No. So, well, I had American Girl dolls because they were the thing when I was younger. And I remember I used to sit them and like either sing or like put on a show, or I also loved The Wizard of Oz. So I used to want to skip around the table all the time. I know we talked about it the last episode. So I would take my dolls and like line them up on the couch and then skip around and like make them watch me because like I was performing and I was Dorothy.
No.
So
I have a captive audience.
I also remember when I was little, I used to do gymnastics when I was little and I loved it. So my American Girl doll used to do gymnastics as well. And I used to like make them like do flips and stuff in the air. And I like had this whole scenario in my head. And anytime that like, you know, when you're a kid and you like make your toys have like families.
Yes.
So I used
and you
to
have like
do
a
that.
whole backstory for them.
And every family for my Bratz dolls and my American Girl dolls, like they had multiple siblings. And it's probably because I wanted siblings.
Probably.
So me, when I'm older, I can't ever just have one kid. I have to have two.
And I know that there's people who are only children who don't want to have multiple.
Yeah.
So I think it is just your perspective on how you felt growing up.
I think your personality too, because some people are perfectly content that they were an only child, and that's fine. I just, for me, I like to be around people and I like to be like have somebody to talk to all the time. So for me, I always wanted a sibling.
Only you and your siblings really understand. They're the only other people that can understand exactly how you grew up. And, you know, everybody has their own perspective on it. But you are the people that grew up in the same household with the same parents.
Growing up in a single mother household, obviously there's certain situations where I wish I had somebody to talk to where I didn't have to talk to my parents about because
I didn't have animals.
Yeah. Because I wanted somebody to relate to me and like, you know, feel the same things I was feeling going through all of that, and just having someone to talk to, because all of my friends at the time had siblings, had parents that were together. I didn't really have anybody that was like me when I was growing up in a single household. I think now it's maybe a little bit more common, but none of my friends had the experience that I did. So that made me crave wanting a sibling even more. So going through life situations when you're younger, when like parents are divorced or not together, or there's a bad breakup or something like that, all the way to when you are an adult and now you're dealing with real life situations, even having someone to talk to, it's nice to have a sibling around.
Well, I even look at it with Jeff, my husband. So his parents divorced when he was 8, and he does have an older brother, and they are also only 19 months apart, I think. So they had each other. And I mean, I hear the stories. I mean, they get along very well. We're very close with him. The stories of the craziness and the things they did to each other growing up, you know, who was fighting, who punched who,
I think boys
who
are
threw
different.
like rock fights, threw a rock at his head, like craziness. But then their father, my father-in-law, remarried, and they have 2 half-brothers.
Totally making this seem like there's an age difference, though.
Exactly.
As an adult.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah. So they were like teenagers who could babysit for their half-siblings. So that kind of happened where they would babysit for them. But now, like, they adore each other. They adore each other. They get along very well. Like, they don't consider themselves half-siblings. Like, that's, Jeff would say that those are my brothers. I have 3 brothers. So I think that's great, too, when you can have half-siblings, but you don't have that tension, that you do have that love with one another.
Yeah, and I'm sure when Logan gets older, I will be much older. But I'm sure when he gets older, we would have a relationship that's sort of like that in a way.
Right.
Because then I feel like when you're adults, it's like different than when you're kids.
I think probably even as he gets into his teenage years and you have kids and then he's Uncle Logan, like I think it'll be different even then.
Yeah, I think so too. It'll be an interesting experience, and to see who he grows up to be, being an only child too, because technically he's growing up only child.
He's growing up, even though you are siblings.
Yeah.
You love each other, you're siblings. You both growing up in only children households.
Yeah. Being that you only had the 2 brothers and you were the older one by a few years, did you guys fight a lot? Or did they fight more because they were closer in age and boys?
They definitely fought more. For me, I think it was more, you get annoyed at your little siblings for whatever. We didn't fight a lot. No, they definitely, because they would play together, argue together. It was definitely more them. I think that it's definitely different growing up. So now here I have two siblings. So yes, when they were younger, no, I really didn't fight a lot with them. We are, you argued. I was more their caretaker as I grew up, and they were still little. So let's say I was 14, they were, here comes the math part again, 14.
We have to stop doing math
8,
during these episodes.
7 and 8. So, I started babysitting for them. Then my parents would go out, I would babysit. The things that I made them do when I was in high school, I would have parties. They would have to be quiet about it. Then people would come over. Oh, mom and dad are out. People are coming over. There might have been some alcohol involved. They literally would help me hide beer bottles, clean it up. The things I made those two do.
Wasn't there a story where somebody was pushing a car down the street?
That's Uncle Toast's story. That's not me.
Oh.
I had nothing to do with that. That's him. He can tell you that another time. I did make them. I had a big fight. You know the story. I had a big fight with my boyfriend because in high school, our high school was 4 different towns that went together, so mixed between towns. But it's probably a good half-hour walk to walk from one to the other.
From
it's a 10-minute car ride.
Half hour. It's
maybe
probably
more.
like 45 minutes.
I mean, I only did it once. So we had a big fight. The boyfriend stopped answering the phone. No cell phones then, people. So I made my little brothers, walk with me because I was afraid to walk by myself from our house to where the boyfriend lived. Literally made them walk. And we almost got caught because my uncle passed us in his car because I think we said on one of the last ones how we all lived near each other. He was like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, we're just going for a little walk because we weren't too far from home at that point. All the way there, I made these poor kids walk. So literally,
they just nonchalantly agreed, like, sure.
Yes, they did too.
Did you tell them why you were going there?
I think I probably said we were going to his house. I'm sure I didn't say it was because he wouldn't answer the phone because we were having a fight. So yeah, they walked with me. I mean, he drove us home, but that's how the dynamic changed. So they were babies. I was like the little mommy. Then I grew up. I was babysitting. Then they became like, I'm a teenager now. Oh, my little brother's like, either you don't want them hanging around or yes, hang around, but now you're going to help me, cover things with mom and dad. Because I was also, now when you say the difference between boys and girls, I was the girl, the oldest, very strict Italian father who wouldn't let me do anything. We'll get to this too, but same story, not for my brothers. But for me, I was not allowed to do, and you said this, I think, in one of the other ones, couldn't go to my 8th grade dances. I couldn't do anything, like very, very strict. So what do you do when they're very, very strict? You lie and try to get away with it.
Such a liar.
So they would literally help me, and God love those boys. I love them so much. They never told on me. Never, never, never. They were my little allies, even at that age.
That's so funny. See, I think siblings, they clicked together.
Like, they could have been like, man, I got something on her now that I could hold over. And they never, ever did.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I think you need siblings sometimes, just to lie for you. And I'm sure people can relate to this, where like if anybody's gotten in trouble, or just the fact like you needed somebody and you called your sibling and like they showed up for you, and like, we're not telling mom, we're not telling dad, and like,
right, you have that thing together that's just yours.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. And I think obviously when I started dating Evan has Ryan as his little brother, and in the beginning Ryan was like a little spy for you.
Oh yeah.
Because so we were 15 obviously, and when I would come over, like, we'd go hang out in the basement and whatever, and I didn't know this then, but Ryan used to come downstairs and just like hang out with us. Just and I'm like, out. And I didn't care ever. I'm like, whatever, it's just like your little brother. But Evan used to get so annoyed. It's like, well, why are you down here? Little did we know that she was sending him downstairs to see what we were doing.
Just to check things out.
But honestly, and whenever we would go out, me and Evan, you would usually tell Evan, why don't you bring your brother?
I don't think I did that all the time.
No, not all the time. But like if we were going to like, I don't know, something stupid like mini golf or something.
Or for ice cream.
Or like something. Ice cream. Like little things. Like he would come with us. That's what really made the three of us, like our little relationship that we had, like so special, because he was my little brother at that point and I loved it.
Evan didn't love it, but you loved it.
No, I loved having him as like my little brother, and he was 11 when I met him. And when he was that young, he used to like me. He doesn't like, he likes me now. He loves you. Yes, but like he would never ever admit it or hang out with us the way he used to. And now he has Mackenzie, so he's got his own thing going on. But it was just so nice to see like how me and Evan's relationship, like we kind of took on Ryan as like our little child. And like we played parents and like brought Ryan with us everywhere and would like buy him ice cream and like go on our little dates, and he would be there like as our little kid.
Aww.
Part of that is like why I love how close we are now, because I know if anything were to happen, like, and I needed somebody that maybe wasn't Evan, I could always ask him and I know he would be there. Maybe I wouldn't be his first choice to come to me, but still, like.
But I think you are. You know, Ryan puts on a very tough front with his brother too.
Oh,
but
yes.
You two are definitely the first people that he would come to if he needed something other than me or his dad could give him. And he would definitely come to you.
And
guys.
like you said, I think even the three of us and now the four of us with Mackenzie have
you still do so much together.
Yeah, we hang out together and we like being together and doing all that, and we even have our little pack where it's like, don't tell mom and dad.
What?
So it's like, you know, we have this little thing that what normal people have with their siblings as well. So it's nice to have him in our life as well.
I'll be interrogating him later.
Yeah, okay. Evan, I think, loves having a little brother for the most part. I mean, they fight occasionally, but he loves, like, he'll ask Ryan to, like, play video games and stuff. And Ryan's more the standoffish one of, like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Where back in the day, Evan was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And it's funny how it switched. Now that Evan is older, he wants to hang out with Ryan more. And now Ryan's like, no, I don't want to hang out with you.
Time for you. I do. I love that they love each other, though. And I've always kind of said that, like, just remember whatever friends you have, that your blood, like, that's your blood. Your blood is the most important thing. That's the person who's going to be there with you. Again, going back to that's the only other person that can really understand your family dynamic as well as you do. So don't let anything come between you. Don't let anything break that bond. You know, my parents felt very strongly about that. My grandparents felt very strongly about that. You know, it's family first, family first. And I think you do grow apart. Like, we're very different. It amazes me how you can come from the two same parents and have such different personalities.
Yeah.
You like different things. You grow, your friends, you end up in different circles. I mean, I think it was harder for my brothers because they were always in competition. It was on the same little league team, the same friend in school, grade apart. Like, it was always, I think that's hard for kids that are that close in age. Where I think with my boys being a little bit further apart, and just like me being further apart from them, there's not as much competition between you.
I think especially with boys.
Yeah.
Boys are always, I feel like, getting pinned up against each other. If it was two girls or a boy and a girl, maybe it wouldn't be so competitive.
Right. But, you know, when it comes down to it in the hardest moments of your life, especially if it's a family moment, your siblings are the one who really are going to be there with you and by you and understand the family dynamic. So they're important, you know, some of the most important people in your life. When we were little and my parents would argue, like, now, I don't remember as much Michael doing this. Maybe he was just a heavier sleeper. But if they would argue like late at night and I was in, you know, my own room and they were in the room together, Anthony would literally army crawl from his room with his pillow into my room. Mommy and Daddy are fighting. Can I sleep in here? So, again, there's the only people that have those shared memories, have those funny stories that can really remember them with you.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like an unspoken rule that siblings will always be there for you. And, obviously it depends on the relationship. Like you said, people can grow up very differently, but I think the closer that you grow up together and depending on your family dynamic makes for a better relationship in your adulthood. So even me pretty much growing up and Ryan growing up with me and Evan together, I told this story not too long ago. I don't know if I told it on the podcast. I don't think so. But the day after our wedding, I loved my wedding dress, right? I loved my wedding dress. The wedding, perfect day. Like, I was so happy. I was so sad when it was over. And I remember the next morning, I don't know where Evan was. He must have been like out getting breakfast or whatever, getting coffee. And I'm like zippering my dress back up into the bag and I just start bawling my eyes out. Bawling my eyes out. Then I go into the bathroom and the door was open. Like I wasn't going to the bathroom, but I was just in there like wiping my face.
And I guess we should explain. There was a whole house that you were all staying in.
Yeah, we stayed at a house that was on the venue.
So the whole bridal party was in the house.
Yes, everybody in the bridal suite was there. And the door was open. I'm bawling, getting a tissue. I'm like, Ryan walks in and goes, hello? And I'm like, hi. He's like, what happened to you? And I'm just like, and I just completely lost it. And I just went like this into
He's like, did you realize you made a mistake marrying my brother?
I just went like this into his arms. He's like, what do I do? And I was like, I just zipped up my wedding dress. I'm so sad. It's over.
So your baby brother had to console you.
Yeah, I mean, console.
Ryan's version of consolation.
But I'm just saying that even like that moment for me was like, it was like my brother, like, I don't know, coming in like, it's fine. You're married. Like, be happy.
Right.
And I was. It was like wedding blues that just popped out of nowhere.
I totally, because obviously I know people who are not close to their siblings. And I think you go through different stages of your life, even when you are close, that sometimes you're closer than others. And part of that is, like I said earlier, it's sometimes funny to realize that 3 people, 2 people, 4 people, could be 6 people come from the same set of parents and can have such different personalities. And then as you grow up and your interests change, you pick different careers in your life, you marry different people or have different partners, you become closer to their family or their friends, your friends change. Obviously, it's never going to be the same as when you're little and you're under the same household altogether. So it's going to change. It's about, I guess, how important it is to you to keep it together.
Yeah, I think the first part of that too in life is, I mean, I don't think you experienced this, but when you're all kids growing up in the same house, I'm sure it's extremely difficult when then one of them goes to college or one of them is now moving out, having kids, getting married. And like you kind of all are dispersing into your own lives. So I'm sure that's hard as a sibling or just as a family member to go through that. And then, like you said, it depends on how well you keep that connection. Do you call them all the time?
Well, and when it's boys and girls, no, the answer. And I shouldn't say that because some people, I'm sure, are boys and girls, brothers and sisters, and call each other all the time.
Yeah.
My brothers and I, we don't just pick up the phone often and just talk to each other on the phone. If there's a reason, if it's a birthday, we see each other. But I think that it's harder. I don't know. I don't know why. And I guess I never really thought about it much. I never thought like, oh, we're not close because I don't pick up the phone out of the blue and call him. Like, I guess now we also live in a world of texting, so it's so much easier to just, hey, how are you? Text.
Yeah.
I had both on Jeff's side, my side, like sisters-in-law that I'm close with. So sometimes I think the sisters-in-law pick up the slack there.
Yeah, I think that's just a woman thing though. Because I mean, with everybody, I think you're always going to text the woman.
Again, I'm sure it's not that way for everyone. It just kind of depends on the situation. But that's my experience.
Do you think if you had a sister, you would just pick up the phone and call her?
I would hope so. But again, I really didn't want a sister because I liked being Pa's only.
When you were little, did you want a sister?
I didn't. Isn't that weird?
Even when you were little?
No.
Wow, you're a brat.
Ask Grammy. I am. I was such a spoiled brat. I loved being the only girl. Loved being the only girl.
All right.
And Grammy always said to me, like when I had the boys, oh, you should try for another one. You're going to be so sorry you didn't have a girl someday. And that was more for me. But I was like, no, they're good. They're good. I'll be good. We're fine.
And I know. She says the same thing to me. She's like, you're just going to have a girl. I'm like, I don't want a girl. I only want all boys. And she's like, you have to try again for a girl if you have 2 boys. I'm like, no.
I think that my place, we were, and who knows, maybe it would have been different if we were closer in age where we would have. Now we hang out, we drink together, we go to dinner. Like we love being together now. The age difference is nothing now. Mm-mm. But the age difference is nothing in hanging out. But it's always been, I think, where I had to be one, I don't know, the one that kind of has to plan things and hold things together. And it's again maybe ingrained in me. Italians are like this too, going back to the Italian thing a little, like, oh, the daughter has to make sure the brothers are good and everybody's together. And I think that was the expectation and still is. Like my mother will say this all the time, like, you have to make sure even when I'm not here, everybody's good and everybody's together.
I think it's just a girl thing.
So it's a girl thing. I think the oldest sibling thing. I think the oldest grandchild in the family. I think when you're the oldest one, and I think you're going to find this, the pressure is on you.
Yeah. What do you think? Okay, so that would be the oldest sibling. What do you think of a middle and a younger child? Like their characteristics or their role in the family?
I don't think it's the normal. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think of Anthony as a normal middle child only because of the age difference. I feel like if we were closer together, I don't think he ever felt like, oh, again, it might be gender and age difference thing because he was the first boy. So even though he was the middle child, it was like, oh my goodness, it's the first boy, because all 3 of us were the first grandchildren. I have my aunt, 2 other aunts, my mother's sisters, I was 10 years old when my first cousin was born. Mm-hmm. So all 3 of us were born first in the family. So Anthony was the first boy. So even though I was the first girl and the oldest and he was now the second, it was 6 years later, no babies in all that time, and the first boy.
Yeah.
That's big when it's the first boy.
That is big. How sexist.
And then when Michael came, Michael definitely was treated like the baby. I personally think my mother still treats him like the baby.
I mean, you still treat Ryan like the baby of the family. So I think that's just the thing. There's always a difference between the older one gets all the responsibility, gets a lot of shit kind of get put on them. And you're kind of like the test dummy. Like you've said this before.
Yeah, I said that about Evan. He was my guinea pig.
Yeah, literally. You're just the guinea pig of the family of new parents trying to figure it out. The middle child, typically, maybe not in your situation, probably feels like they get left out a little bit when the younger one comes along.
Because I think normally it's, well, I'm not the oldest, so I'm not the oldest child. I'm not the baby. Where do I fit in the middle? Yeah. I actually think maybe in my mom's situation with the 3 girls, so it was my mother, Jean, her first sister, my Aunt Angie, was middle child.
Oh, Aunt Rose the baby?
Aunt Rose the baby.
Oh.
So I think that to some degree, they're all 3 of them super close, but I do think to some degree Aunt Angie was that problem middle child. Like she was the one, I've heard all the stories, like she would skip school, she would hide in the closet until my grandmother would go to work. If she would come home for lunch, my aunt would hide in the closet because she skipped school. Like my mother was the angel, and Angie was kind of like, she was the middle problem child, but Aunt Ro was, I think, more the rebel and would be like hanging out at the corner in the
Yeah.
70s
And
with
the
the
younger
long hair
kids-
and got away with that.
The younger siblings get away with everything.
Right. So I think Aunt Ro
Yeah.
got away with everything. Aunt Angie would get in trouble, middle child. And my mother was the angel and a little, they call her St. Jean, a
Yeah.
little bit older and, had a whole
And I
things
think
together.
the younger child always gets treated like, and gets away with more is because like your first kid, I think you're like so protective and like everything, and you're like, well, the first kid turned out fine, so sure, you could do that too. And then part of it is like you don't want the other kid to feel left out if the older kid gets something, and then the younger kid. Did you ever have experiences like that with the boys, of like one of them felt like,
With my boys or my brothers?
your boys,
Felt like one got more than the other.
or I guess like a time frame
Me
thing.
at Christmas, nobody gets more than the
I
other.
know.
We'll talk about that another day.
I'm not saying more than the other. I mean, like, this may be a bad example, but like a cell phone. So like me and Evan probably got cell phones around 8th grade, high school. Maybe he got one younger than I did, but that's when I got one. But like Ryan, I assume got one way younger because of the technology and stuff. But was Evan ever like, oh, that's not fair, I got one at this age?
Not with the cell phones, because that kind of where Evan was a little bit younger too because of hockey. So we wanted him,
Yeah.
if he was like certain places with hockey, not that we really weren't there, but we wanted him to have one if he was in the rink and we weren't right there or whatever. So I think he was 11 when he got one. He was younger. So Ryan, it was the same age. Like you can get it at the same age, but it was for a reason. I think even now, Evan sometimes is like, well, why does he get to do this now? I couldn't do this till this time. Or, part-time jobs. Like Evan always worked. And Ryan, we're a little bit more like, oh, well, he's got school and he has hockey. And he's okay. He's got his little odd jobs. And I think Evan would be like, well, I had to have
I always had to have a job.
So I think sometimes with things like that, you get more of it.
Yeah.
And I think with Ryan, with Evan, it's not that, the opposite. I think that's an older, like I had it with my brothers because as I alluded to earlier, strict father, I couldn't do anything. My brothers could do whatever the heck they wanted. My father would be like, it's fine. He's a boy. It's all good.
That's the Italian part of this episode.
Not fair at all. Like I was like, what the heck? If I ever could do whatever they wanted. So I think that there was some of that, even probably now with but no, I don't know. I don't really know if it goes the other way with Ryan, with Evan.
I don't think so, because Ryan, I mean, I don't know. It's a different time too.
Yeah.
I mean, your boys never really got into any trouble either.
No,
So
my angels.
my angels.
Do they all at sometimes think one is the favorite?
Yes.
Not so much with me. I think more.
Evan is her favorite.
They all say that.
Evan's her favorite, and Jeff Ryan.
They
is
say
Jeff's
Ryan is
favorite.
Jeff's favorite, but it's not true. I
Yes,
love
it
my
is.
kids exactly the same.
You favor more.
Not true. Do not
No,
believe her.
I don't think
She is my not least favorite daughter-in-law.
you're only daughter-in-law, so it automatically puts me up first. But I think it's funny because I think you tend to take Evan's side a little bit more because Evan sometimes gets teased a lot by Ryan and Jeff and me. So I think that's why you tend to take Evan's side
I think
more.
that you have a very special place in your heart for your firstborn, but then there's an equally special place in your heart for your baby.
So that's why the
it's
middle
two
child
different-
feels left out
I
all the
guess so.
time.
I mean, I don't know because I don't have a middle child. I guess you would be my middle child.
Yeah,
Kidding.
yes.
I don't have a middle child. So I know, like, with Evan, all my firsts of being a mother were with Evan. So I became a mother with Evan. I learned how to be a mother with Evan. But then with Ryan, I got to do it again and perfect things that maybe I didn't do the first time. So they both have equal importance.
Yeah. So maybe that's where it comes from, though, about the middle child being like
Could be.
feeling left out and the rebel kid who like is emotional. It's just interesting to see family dynamics with your siblings because it 100% depends on the way you grow up. At least what I think. I think there's similarities that people can relate to, being like an oldest, a middle, or a younger. But I think it really depends on the way you grew up.
Outside factors can play in as you grow up. And I think, well, we haven't story or an article or
yes,
advice.
we do.
So why don't we get into that? And then that kind of will play into how outside factors can.
Yes, we have a listener story. So this is our Stirring the Pot segment where we are reading a real story and going to give some reactions to it. Do you want me to read it?
You can read it.
All right.
I'll have another sip of my wine
Let
so
me
I keep
zoom
drinking.
it in so I could see, even though I have my glasses on. Okay, here's our listener story. How do you all think about your role as a sister as an adult? 37, female, has been challenged in recent years with trying to figure out how to have an adult relationship with my siblings. I have 3 siblings, a 45-year-old male, a 40-year-old female, and a 36-year-old male. I don't feel especially close with any of them. I'm not estranged to any of them, and I make an effort to check in with them around the holidays or their kids' birthdays. I've also been there for them going through a rough patch or have a specific need, but we do not really have much in common outside of our shared upbringing. I always feel a bit awkward when I try to talk to them, even though a short phone conversation feels forced to me. I want to be a good sister, but I don't totally know how to appreciate their perspectives here. Oh, I appreciate their perspectives here. Sorry. You made me read. I have dyslexia,
Sorry.
you know?
It was kind of tiny for me to read.
I'm like...
It kind of goes back to me saying you grow up. So yeah, you have that shared bond that you grew up the same way with the same parents, in the same household, same families, but you grow into different people. So outside, environment, outside factors come into play. And I think it's natural, like anything too. I can't say that, well, I mean, for me, it's different too, because I don't have a sister. It's brothers. Mm-hmm. So they certainly don't want to hear everything I have to say. But I think that you can be and have a very close bond that feels like a sibling bond with someone who's not your blood, who's not someone who you didn't grow up with. And I can understand how someone, again, they have spouses maybe that they kind of go into a different direction or they move further away and you don't see each other as much. So I can see how that could happen. I mean, I guess my only advice would be try to keep finding that common bond because you came from it. I think it's okay to accept that you are different today.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be forced. You don't have to be close. You don't have to be BFFs just because you grew up together, because you're siblings. Because then I think if you put that pressure on yourself, I don't know how you get to that place.
Yeah, and maybe if you put too much pressure on yourself that you're just going to end up tearing the relationship apart if it's not somebody that you can really see yourself getting along with that well, or like you don't want to push the boundaries, I guess, too much of where you're comfortable. Still be close in a way of like you said, like family parties, kids' birthdays, still do your family duties, I would say.
Right.
But if the person, your sister, your brother, is not someone that, you're super close with, or even if there's like bad blood between like whoever they married or something like that, like you don't have to be that close, but you should still remain close enough to keep common ground and make sure that you're still, it's still your brother, it's still your sister, no matter what. So
don't regret it someday. Don't let some outside factor destroy whatever your relationship is. Again, does not have to be that you hang out all the time, that you see each other all the time. I think if you check in for the important moments in each other's life, you champion each other's important moments, you cheer each other on. It doesn't have to be more than that. You don't have to be best friends just because you're siblings. But I think that if you can, and I know sometimes you can't help it, but if you can, check in. Check in. Don't have a regret later in life that you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, though, having parents that are close with their siblings makes it better for the child. So if there is an opportunity for you to be close with them in that way, it's nice because then your kids get to grow up together and you get to hang out together and spend holidays together, and it's more comfortable. Obviously, it depends on your circumstance. If, if things are not so good between you, but you just keep that common ground, that's fine. But if there is ever opportunity to be close with your siblings and you all have kids together, it's nice to all grow up and share all those memories together.
Absolutely. And then your kids become close, and it's like the next generation kind of carrying it on for you. But I mean, I get it. There's some folks, and there's people I know that their relationship with some of their siblings is beyond repair.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's that bad that it's not healthy for you to maintain that relationship, then I get it, where you have to let it go. But I guess my only take on it, or piece of advice, would be try. And if you've tried and you've really looked at it and you say, this is unhealthy for me now, or unhealthy for the rest of the family, then if you have to let it go, you let it go.
Yeah, but because it's blood, I think you still have to try.
Yes, you have to at least try.
Yes.
But that goes both ways. So hopefully both
exactly. Because if you're putting out all the effort and the other person is not returning it, then let it be. Then just let it go at that point.
I mean, she didn't give us all the information as to
what the situation
is. Are there spouses, brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law? But it sounds like at the very least they are checking in with each other, and it's just they're not BFFs, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good little listener story. If you guys want to send us some of your stories, we could read them here on the show. Send us your family stories, your mother-in-law stories, your daughter-in-law stories, crazy things that happen in your family, or just some Italian things. I don't know. Whatever you want to send us.
Any stories. We may come up with our own episode just based on it.
Based on stories. So send them in. You can DM us at Spilling the Gravy. But yeah, I think that was a good little episode.
I think we've covered all the sibling-esque issues, fun things.
Thank you to our listener story.
Yeah, thanks
for sending it in. But yeah, so feel free to follow us. We're at Spilling the Gravy. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. Follow the page.
All the things.
Anywhere you listen to your podcast, we're also there. And you can watch us on YouTube. Sometimes I put fun little photos in our videos. So follow us on YouTube.
Again, don't know.
Wow, you're such a big supporter of the show.
I'm a big supporter. I'm the talent, not the coordination.
Oh, okay. She's the talent.
I'm not the
clock it.
All the hard work here. I give you all the credit.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
She's wonderful.
All right. Well, next week is very, very exciting. And I say that every week, but I'm really excited for next week.
What's next week, Antonia?
Next week, we're talking about weddings.
Woo!
We're going to talk about my wedding and us planning it together. We're going to a wedding. We're going to our cousin's wedding. How exciting.
Her cousin, my nephew.
Yes, so exciting. So stay tuned for that episode. It'll be out next
Are we going
Tuesday.
to talk about my wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, 30 years ago.
30 years. Oh, yeah. See, we could talk about your wedding and the differences. It'll be a good episode. I'll put so many pictures in that episode. So you're going to have to follow us on YouTube.
Very exciting.
Nyla just unplugged our camera. I mean, the light. Wow. Thanks, Nyla.
Well, we're in the
I guess
park
we're
now. Done. And call your brother or sister now.
Call your brother and sister and share the episode with them.
Share the episode.
Text them, share the episode.
Listen to it together.
Yes. See, you can have
sibling
a listening
night.
Party. Nyla, do not shut anything else off. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, for watching. We will see you next Tuesday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Aunt Ro. I feel like that has to be every episode.
Bye, Aunt Ro.